Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic story. If you like this fanfic, don't forget to subscribe my channel. Now let's start the fanfics. Thankful for the training and promised to keep up with it. The shadow clone jutsu would help him greatly. As he laid on his bed, he turned and looked at the wooden scroll he picked up in the wave. He had forgot about that scroll when he got into his training. He forced himself to get up and made his way to the scroll. He unrolled it and was surprised to see a symbol. It looked like a big circle with several rings within it. Under it were 9 red magatama. He was very confused until he read the words next to it. To my sons and or descendants. My name is Chishiki, known as the Sage of the Six Paths. This scroll is my will and testament to my descendants who will one day gain the eyes of a god. Use this scroll and let my knowledge help you in mastering your new powers. May this scroll also help you in life. Do not allow your power to corrupt the good that I brought to the world. May this help you find and understand everyone and all things. I wish you great success and longevity. Naruto was scratching his head. Who was the Sage of the Six Paths? Was that someone they talked about in class? He decided to ask Iruka-sensei after his meeting and missions. Maybe he might know something. Unknown to him, a force that was placed in him since birth began to stir. It was as if something was calling to him. He wondered what this feeling was. XXX. Asuma walked into a bar after another D-rank mission. Tomorrow, he would be taking his team on their first C rank. He felt that they were ready and had asked for one. Shikamaru might be annoyed, but he would get over it. Knowing that he would be gone for a while, he decided to get a drink or two with Kurenai. They agreed to meet at this bar. His eyes landed on her, but she was not alone. Anko, Kakashi and Genma was with her. She sent him a hidden message which he received. He went up to the table and attacked, surprised to see them. Hey guys, funny seeing you here. Asuma greeted. Hey Smokestack, are you going to join us? Anko asked. Sure, I'm taking my team on their first C rank and I can use a few. Asuma said. He sat next to Kurenai and ordered something to drink. As he waited, his attention was grabbed by Genma. I'm sorry Genma, what were you asking me? I was asking you about your team. Genma said. They're interesting. It takes a little to motivate both Shikamaru and Choji. Ino's a little too loud and bossy. In all, they are a great team. What about you guys? Asuma asked. Hinata is still a bit shy, but she is improving. Kiba is way too brash and it is a headache to deal with him. Shino is my most trusted student, but I wish he would open up more. They all have the ability to be a great team. Kurenai said. My team needs a bit of work. Sasuke is arrogant and believes his team to be a burden. Sakura is still very much a fangirl and does not take things seriously. Naruto is like Kiba in a lot of ways, but I am happy to say that he is beginning to take this seriously. RC rank was an eye-opener for him and he is doing things to change himself. Iruka has been a great help. Kakashi said. Expect some more from the kid Kakashi. He has some potential in him. Asuma said. Something I should know? Kakashi asked. He came to me for some help with his taijutsu. I've improved his stance and his footwork. You may want to help him find a style. Asuma said. Well then, your drink is on me. Thanks for helping him, Kakashi said. Asuma nodded and the group went into other topics. Getting his way and got frustrated. He should have lost when he used his Sharingan, but I allowed it to slide. Are you saying that I should have allowed Sasuke to use a fire jutsu on your comrade? Kakashi asked with an edge. I didn't mean. Sakura began but was cut off by the look in Kakashi's eye. She bowed her head in shame and remained quiet. Kakashi scoffed at her and faced Naruto. Naruto, you are excused for the rest of the day. Enjoy your victory and have Ichiraku's put the bill on me. I have to talk to your teammates for a bit. Kakashi said. All right sensei. Naruto exclaimed and made his way to the ramen stand. XXX. Naruto was at home, reading some scrolls. After having some bowls of ramen, he decided to get to studying. As he was studying some scrolls, his attention was diverted to the wooden scroll that he got from the Wave Country. He wasn't very interested in it after reading the first paragraph, but something was telling him to continue reading. He put aside the material he was reading and made his way over to the scroll. He opened it and read it. As he read and was getting bored, he saw that this guy was giving instruction on how to master the elements. All the elements were there and he was giving some clear instructions on how to master them. He quickly recanted his last statement about the scroll and continued to read the scroll eagerly. Unknown to him, his prisoner was reading along with him. He was very surprised to see that Naruto had gotten his hand on such a scroll. He smirked at the possibilities that Naruto could have with this in his possession. Perhaps he would not be within a weak container after all. XXX. Ino was not a happy camper at the moment. She snapped a strap on one of her sandals. Her teammates would not get there in gear when they were training, and that freakish forehead rival of hers was with her Sasuke. It made her so angry that she got to be on his team. Who knows how far she sank her claws into him. Oh, how she wanted to find their training grounds and have it out with her. That would show her who was top dog. She suddenly stopped when she heard a cry of frustration. She followed it and found Naruto. He was currently in a horse stance and holding a leaf with his two hands. She watched him for a while and chuckled softly as it looked like the guy was constipated. She watched him release another cry of frustration before falling onto his back. She just sighed and walked away from the area. Whatever that moron was doing, she didn't want to be involved with it. Looked at the Yondaime's picture with a smile. Minato, Kushina, may those two techniques help your son grow. He whispered. XXX. Naruto spared with Kakashi. The Jonin was just defending, but he was very impressed with his blonde student. Within 2 months, he had become a very good ninja. His library of jutsu had grown, his taijutsu was great, he was able to tell that he was in a genjutsu and his tactics was impressive. His brash attitude was toned down some and he was serious when the time called for it. If he was honest with himself, Naruto could make Chunin should he take the exam. Kakashi caught Naruto's fist and flipped him onto his back. Naruto let loose and and laid there for a while. Kakashi gave him a smile. That was pretty good, Naruto. Was that a combination of the teleportation jutsu and clone jutsu? Kakashi said. Nah, I was reading up on one of the Tem's relatives. Shisui is his name. I read that he was so good using the teleportation technique that he could create afterimages. I'm still not as fast as him, but I'll get there. Naruto said. Don't mention that in front of Sasuke, however. He might not appreciate that. Kakashi said. He needs to just chill out. He and Sakura both need to. I don't understand what their problem is. Naruto said. He was at his wit's end with the two. Sasuke just kept asking him for another spar. He got that spar about 2 weeks ago. He was allowed to use his Sharingan this time. He admitted that fighting Sasuke was a lot more difficult with it on, but he was narrowly able to pull out a victory. That did not sit well with the last Uchiha who looked ready to roast him. Since then, he could feel the brooder following him. Sakura was worst. He didn't know why she was getting on him just because he beat Sasuke. She would berate him and even made a comment that hurt him greatly. He still liked her, but it was fading fast. The one thing that changed was that she did not try to hit him anymore. He also removed the Chan from the end of her name. He just couldn't understand why they were acting like he was the enemy. Shouldn't they be happy that he was improving? Don't worry about it, Naruto. Just leave them alone for a while and they would come around. Kakashi said. I hope that you're right, Kakashi-sensei. Naruto said. XXX. Naruto was walking toward Ichiraku's after another mission. He idly wondered if he had forgotten something that he promised someone. He shrugged it off as it probably wasn't important. As he continued on his way, he heard Konohamaru's voice. Worried about his friend, he made his way over to where he heard the voice. He arrived to see Konohamaru being chased by Sakura. He saw his friends following behind him. Not wanting to see his friend get hurt, Naruto teleported and snatched him up in mid-run. He landed on a branch and placed him next to him. Sakura was very confused until Naruto made himself known. Naruto, hand that kid over. Sakura demanded. Not until you calm down. I don't know what's going on, but whatever he did or said doesn't mean that you can bully him. Naruto said. I'm getting sick of your attitude, Naruto. You think just because you beat Sasuke by luck that you're top dag, but the truth is that you're still a dead last. Sakura spat. At least I'm doing something. You're considered the top kunoichi, but you just as bad as Ino is. Maybe if you put a little effort into your training, you wouldn't be so far behind me or Sasuke. Naruto spat right back. Sakura was seething at his words and looked ready to try something. She was stopped by an unfamiliar voice. I thought Konoha-nin valued friendship and all that garbage. The male voice said. Naruto looked at the two teenagers and wondered who they were. He saw their forehead protectors and noticed that they were from Suna. From his studies with Iruka, Konoha and Suna were allies. Still, that didn't mean that they could walk around freely. Are you guys here on a mission from Suna? I know that we're allies, but without identification, you're not allowed to walk around freely. Naruto said. Wow, haven't you seen the foreigners entering your village? The girl asked mockingly. You'll have to forgive me. I have been busy with my training to notice. But with what you said, that means that the Chunin exams are being held here. Naruto said. That was another thing he learned from Iruka. He knew that it was a biannual exam that every nation participated in. Good guess, you're not as out of the loop as I first thought. The girl said. I have a great tutor. Anyway, I apologize for our behavior and for delaying you. If you don't mind, I'll be going with my young friends here. Naruto said. He led Konohamaru and his friends out of the area. When they were far enough, Konohamaru looked at Naruto. Thanks boss from saving me from that harpy. He said. No problem, but why was she chasing you? Naruto asked. She was bad-mouthing you, boss. Konohamaru didn't like it and insulted her. She got really angry and began to chase him. Moegi explained. Naruto just sighed at that. He was really getting sick of this. He didn't like that Sakura would just chase Konohamaru like that. This put a really damper on his feelings for her. He quickly shook it off and took his friends to Ichiraku's. Sakura is a civilian. You have the edge over her, yet she gained top kunoichi honors. Am I wrong? Everyone watched the scene with wide eyes. Naruto was talking back to Ino and make a good point about it. Ino was boiling with rage and was about to roar. Why you? Ino began when Naruto cut her off again. Hey Hinata, Kiba, Shino, are you taking the exams too? Naruto asked. Ino looked at the blonde with wide eyes. Naruto Uzumaki had just blown her off again. This was not going to stand. She was about to lay a beating on him when an older teenager stepped in view. You guys need to calm down. You aren't making a good impression, he said and pointed to the crowd. The rookies looked to see everyone give them the evil eye and a little bit of killer intent. Some of them looked a little scared when Naruto stepped forward. He took a deep breath and showed his intent. The elder genin were surprised by the action of the blonde kid. They were certain that he was glowing in a faint blue color. The stare-off ended and everyone went back to their business. Naruto just sighed and turned back to the rookies. He saw that they were looking at him with shock and awe. What? Naruto asked. The elder teen pulled out a stack of cards. He began to shuffle through them until he pulled out a card. He looked at the card and then back at Naruto. Well, this is embarrassing. My card didn't have that skill. When did you learn how to do that? He asked. It's a secret and nothing you need to know about. Exactly what were you talking about? Information. What is that in your hand? Naruto asked. Oh, this, he said. He flipped the card and showed what the card had. It had a picture of Naruto, his stats and his mission history. These are called Ninja Info Card. I have collected data on every genin in this exam from my times in taking this exam. How many times have you taken the exam? Sakura asked. This will be my 7th time. The name is Kabuto Yakushi, by the way. He answered. 7th time, you must really suck. Kiba mocked. I assure you that the exam is very difficult. I would not be so in thinking that you would have an easy time. Kabuto said. These cards, you have information on everyone in this room. Sasuke asked. Yeah, even the rookies. Why, are you interested in someone? Kabuto asked. Rock Lee of Konoha and Gaara of the desert. Sasuke said. That's no fun. You know their names. Kabuto said. He shuffled through his deck and pulled out 2 cards. Here they are. Show me. Sasuke demanded. Okay. The first one is Rock Lee, rank genin. He is the member of Team Guy with Tenten and Neji Hyuga. His mission history is 14D rank missions, 5C rank missions and 1B rank. He has no talent in genjutsu and ninjutsu, but his taijutsu skills are off the charts. The second on is Gaara of the desert, rank genin. He is the member of Team Baki with his siblings, Tamari and Kankuro. His mission history is 0D rank missions, 5C rank missions, 5B rank missions and 2A rank missions. On each mission, he has come back from without a scratch on him. Kabuto told the group. Naruto was shocked at this. Seeing the picture, he turned to face the one called Gaara. He saw that he was wearing a black full-body suit with t-shirt-like sleeves, 3/4 length legs, and an open neck. With this, he wore a white cloth over his right shoulder and the left side of his hips, and a wide leather band system over the left shoulder and right side of his hips. With this leather band, he carried around his gourd that contains his sand. He also wrapped his forehead protector over the band. He saw the rings around his eyes and the look that promised pain should anyone cross him. He looked very dangerous but couldn't understand how he could do such mission and now receive an injury. Did he have some type of defense that was not known? He had read about the third cage from his studies with Iruka and how he had a similar defense. He was so into his thoughts that he missed Kabuto getting attacked. He was brought out of them when several Chunin and one Jonin alerted everyone. The Chunin exams were about to begin. We need to get out of here, Naruto. She'll pick us apart, Sakura exclaimed. We have to slow her down first. She no Genin and my clones will not last long. We need wound her enough so that we can escape. Naruto explained. We should just give up our scroll and run. Sasuke stated. Did you not hear her before? She could have ended this in a matter of moments. She's just toying with us. Guys, I need your help, Naruto said. Sasuke looked ready to give in but Sakura grabbed his arm. We need to get out of here. We can't fight her and win. Let that idiot Naruto cover our escape, Sakura said. Sasuke was surprised by what she was saying. She was ready to abandon Naruto just like that. Naruto was curious about what was taking so long when he had to dodge. He cursed and whipped out a kunai. He launched it at the girl. Ninja art. Shuriken Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto called out. The kunai tripled in amount and launched at the girl at incredible speeds. She was very surprised and was nearly skewered by the kunai. Seeing this, Sasuke was in awe and jealous. When did Naruto learn that technique? Was Kakashi teaching Naruto instead of him? With such thoughts, Sasuke made his decision. He took off with Sakura in tow. Naruto turned to see them leave and was in shock. What the hell? Where are you guys going? That's a shame. Naruto quickly turned to face the kunoichi. I did not expect the last Uchiha to be such a coward. She then faced Naruto and smiled. What will you do now, Naruto? You are all alone and have no backup. Naruto was shaking with rage and it was directed at his fleeing teammates. This was the ultimate form of betrayal. He couldn't believe that they would break the motto that was set by their sensei. Despite his rage, he knew that he had to protect him. She was after that bastard for some reason. They were still teammates until he got his hands on them. The woman watched as Naruto pulled out two kunai and slipped into a fighting stance. I don't know why you want the coward, but he is still my teammate. I will protect him no matter what the cost, Naruto said with conviction. Besides, you're not just going to let me leave. You are much smarter than people think. Let's see if you can keep such a promise, she said. She readied herself to attack. Naruto readied himself for the battle of his career. Then grabbed Sasuke by his collar and drove him into a tree. The force that he hit the tree it dazed the last Uchiha. You son of a bitch. I should beat you for what you did. If there was anyone I would not expect that from, it's you. Why did you and Sakura leave me to die? Naruto roared. This surprised everyone in the area. Let Sasuke go, Naruto. We should have run and gave up our scroll like he said we should have. Sakura shouted. Do you know who you left me to fight? Orochimaru was disguised as that girl who was kicking your. Why would a Sannin care about a test? Naruto spat. He turned his attention back to Sasuke. You are nothing but a coward and a fraud. You think that you're the shit but you're nothing but talk. How are you going to fight and kill your brother when his strength dwarfs yours? Are you going to run like the little bitch that you are? You will release me now. Sasuke shouted. You don't make demands of me, Uchiha. As far as I'm concerned, you and Sakura are no longer my teammates. You broke Kakashi's rule and to me, you two are worse than trash. Naruto shouted back. He shoved Sasuke to the ground and spat on Sakura's foot. He jumped into the trees and was gone from sight. Sakura looked around and saw that everyone was giving her and Sasuke dirty looks. We didn't know who he was fighting, Sakura stated, trying to explain the situation. And does that make what you did right? You left him there to die and he should be. Shikamaru said with a tone. It seems that he was fated to be on such a bad team. It also seems that the Uchiha is not all that he and hyped up to be. Neji mocked. Sasuke rounded on him with a harsh glare. Ino looked at the direction that Naruto went in and decided to follow. She didn't know why, but she decided to see how the blonde was doing. XXX. Naruto splashed some water on his face, hoping the cold water would calm him down. He was still angry, but it had reduced as he had gotten all he wanted to say out. He sat near the river and thought about what to do next. He knew that he would have to get to the tower and let the old man know about what happened in the forest. He would bite his anger and go with his former teammates. He had both scrolls so they wouldn't be in each other's company for long. He suddenly heard something and pulled out a kunai. He got ready to attack until he heard the voice. "Wait a minute Naruto, it's me Ino," she called out. Naruto relaxed his guard a little and waited until she came out. She noticed that he was still on edge but realized that they were still participating in an exam. The two just stood there for a while before Ino spoke. "So, had a rough day?" Ino cursed at her stupidity while Naruto looked at her with a deadpan look. "Sorry, I know that you've had a rough day. I was just trying to lighten you up." "It's okay Ino, I just need some time to cool off. I can't do that in front of them," Naruto said. If you want, I can ask the guys to come along with you. You know, so that you can have some company to talk to." Ino said. "You would do that just to keep me company?" Naruto asked skeptically. "Hey, do want the company or not?" Ino asked hotly. Naruto smiled for a brief moment before answering. "Thanks Ino. Do you have both scrolls?" Naruto asked. "We need a heaven scroll," Ino said. Naruto pulled out the scroll he took from the AIM team and tossed it to Ino. "It's a thank you for helping keep Sakura and Sasuke alive," Naruto said and walked past her. Ino looked at the scroll and smiled. Maybe Naruto wasn't such a pain after all. She followed him back to the camp. "What I teach is none of your concern Genin. If I teach you something it is for your own good. If you don't like it, too bad," Kakashi said and shoved past Sasuke. The boy was enraged at the dismissal and attempted to attack Kakashi from behind. It was a stupid move as Sasuke found himself on the ground, Kakashi's foot stomping on his head. The other Jonin couldn't believe the balls on the kid to do such a thing. Sasuke struggled but a small twist of his arm made him groan in pain. He turned slightly to see Kakashi's lone Sharingan glare at him. "You have disappointed me for the last time. The great last Uchiha, the one to bring justice to his clan, you are a joke. Do you truly believe that strong techniques can defeat your brother, a man who was an Anbu captain at 13? You can train as hard as you can but it will never be enough. Do you want to know why? It is because you are weak. You are weak at heart, weak at will and weak at spirit. You are nothing more than a child throwing a tantrum when he doesn't get his way. I would rather teach Naruto because he has the right stuff to be great. You and Haruno-san can consider this your termination from my team. I have no need for trash like you," Kakashi said and released Sasuke. He walked out and left him to stew. Sakura attempted to help Sasuke but he shoved her away and stormed out of the lounge. Sakura could feel the disappointed looks from the Leaf Jonin. She left soon after but not before glaring at Ino. Ino wasn't intimidated by the glare. One person in the room was smiling at what he saw and excused himself. It was about time to mark his prize. XXX. Hiruzen waited until the medic was done with Naruto's diagnostics. When Izumo arrived and gave him the note, he was incredibly worried. He rushed to the medical bay and demanded that Naruto's bandages be removed. They did as they were told and removed the bindings. Hiruzen was able to relax when he saw that there was no mark on him. He didn't know what Orochimaru's mark would do to Naruto's seal. He allowed the medics to continue and waited for them to finish. That's when Kakashi appeared. "Hokage-sama is Naruto," Kakashi began but he is stopped by Hiruzen. "They are just finishing up and we will have our answer soon," he said. As soon as those words were uttered, the doctor was done. He looked toward the Hokage and Kakashi. "The kid is fine, like always. All of his injuries are gone and he is able to move around," the doctor said. He left with his team and the Anbu secured the room. Hiruzen looked at Naruto and smiled. "You shaved a few more years out of my life Naruto," Hiruzen said. "Sorry about that old man," Naruto said. "It is okay, my boy. Now, the note you received, I know it is from my wayward student. What can you tell me about your encounter?" Hiruzen asked. "There's nothing I can really tell you. He had an agenda though. When I arrived on the scene, he was just toying with Sasuke and Sakura. He could have killed them if he wanted to but didn't. When they abandoned me, he toyed with me as well. It was like he didn't want me to die. I don't know what he wanted but it was like he was testing us," Naruto explained. Hiruzen nodded and patted Naruto on the head. "Thank you for your input Naruto. I'll leave you with Kakashi so that you can talk," Hiruzen said and left the room. Once outside, he signaled his Anbu. "I want Sasuke Uchiha placed under constant guard now, sir," they said and vanished. Hiruzen kept walking to his office and began to wonder what his student was planning next. XXX. Sasuke stormed through the halls of the tower. He was irate and enraged at the words Kakashi had just said to him. He was not weak. He was not a child. He needed power to complete his ambition. All these team practices and drills were meaningless. He didn't need anyone's help. Itachi was his and only his to kill. He would make Kakashi pay for his words. The best way was to take out his favorite student, Naruto. He would like to hear what Kakashi would have to say after Naruto couldn't compete anymore. He suddenly jumped back as a kunai flew at him. A purple wall appeared behind him and he was trapped. Alone at last, Sasuke, a voice said. He looked forward to see Orochimaru. Sasuke immediately activated his Sharingan and glared at him. This just amused him further. So now you are ready to fight? The last time we faced each other, you could barely keep up. You were shivering in your sandals and your teammate had to come and save you. It seems that your teachers have overestimated your abilities. Shut up, I don't need that dobi to deal with you. I am an Uchiha, I am an Avenger. You will not mock my abilities. Sasuke roared. Oh, such passion, such hunger. Why don't you show me your true abilities? Orochimaru asked mockingly. Sasuke quickly did some seal and took a deep breath. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. Sasuke said and launched the biggest fireball ever. This just made Orochimaru smirk as the attack hit. XXX. The explosion rocked the tower and alerted everyone. Hiruzen along with his guard rushed to the scene. He arrived to see several Jonin there. They all saw a huge hole in the wall, fire burning around it. Report, what is going on here? Hiruzen demanded. We don't know, sir. We have just arrived here as well. One Chunin said. Another explosion caught their attention and it was a little ways away from the tower. He turned to Asuma. Take a team and investigate. Detain anyone you find. Hiruzen said. Asuma nodded and took a team with him to investigate. Hiruzen couldn't help but be worried about what could have caused this. XXX. Is this it, Sasuke? Is this all you have? Orochimaru said with some disappointment. Sasuke was on his hands and knees, sucking in air. He looked at Orochimaru and growled. Not even the Sharingan could read him. He would not go down like this. He would make this man take him seriously. He charged again and threw a punch-kick combination. Orochimaru easily defended against it and slammed Sasuke down to the ground. Orochimaru would hold him there for a while. He sensed some people coming and realized that his window had closed. It's such a shame that you could not do much better, but that is to be expected. However, I will award your bravery, he said. He did a single seal and his neck stretched. He then bit Sasuke on the side of his neck. Sasuke screamed for a while before feeling weaker. Orochimaru stood and walked away a few feet. He turned back toward Sasuke. That gift I gave you, use it well, Sasuke. If you like it and want more, then come and seek me. With that said, Orochimaru vanished and Sasuke was out cold. Asuma arrived and noticed the burning wood and laying body. He checked to see that it was Sasuke. He also noticed something else and it made him worry. It was Orochimaru's curse mark. It came to close combat. Naruto had completely dominated that first round. Not only that, but she could have sworn that the move he had just used was just like that of Shisui Uchiha. She looked at Kakashi and wondered what had he been teaching him. Kakashi watched and was pleased to see that Naruto's illusion dance was battle ready. He could only wonder if Shisui would be proud there was another one just like him. He turned to Ino, who had her mouth wide open. Surprised, Kakashi asked, I thought what he did to the sound team was impressive, but this is insane. He was never able to match Kiba back in the academy. How did he get so strong? Ino asked. He worked his butt off and he had help from various people. Your sensei was one of those people, Kakashi said. Ino looked at Asuma, who nodded at her. Our first mission outside Konoha, Naruto felt useless. He didn't want to feel that way again. He trained hard and worked hard so that he could stand with his teammates. It's too bad that his former teammates couldn't see that. He is a true testament of hard work. What a youthful story, my rival. I will work twice as hard to match young Naruto. Guy cheered. I will work 3 times as hard, Guy-sensei. Lee countered. This continued for a while, but everyone seems to ignore them and focus on the fight. XXX. Kiba wiped his mouth and faced Naruto, who was still in his stance. Akamaru barked at him to calm Kiba down. Kiba couldn't really believe that this was happening. Naruto was the dead last, the failure. How could he have gotten so strong in such a short time? Was his sensei that good of a teacher? Many questions ran through his head, but he banished them in order to show Naruto that he was still the best fighter. Fine, Dobi, you want to play it that way? Let's go, Akamaru, Kiba shouted. The white puppy barked and Kiba tossed him a pill while he ate one himself. Naruto watched as Akamaru's fur got red and he jumped on Kiba's head. Kiba did a hand seal and called out his jutsu. Man-beast clone. Kiba called out. Akamaru transformed into an exact copy of Kiba. Naruto could see that this might be a problem and shifted to a defensive stance. Kiba and Akamaru moved much faster and attempted to attack Naruto from each side. Naruto teleported across the room as they were about to connect. Kiba and Akamaru followed him by scent and chased after him. It was a game of cat and mouse as Naruto kept teleporting around the room to avoid Kiba and his partner. Having enough of his running away, the two forced Naruto into a position where he couldn't dodge. "You're mine, Fang over Fang," Kiba shouted. He and Akamaru began spinning like drill and moved to hit Naruto, who was stuck in midair. Naruto acted quickly and did a jutsu. Shadow Clone Jutsu. Naruto called out and created 10 clones. While he was aiming for more, this would have to do for now. Kiba just laughed at Naruto's stupidity as a clone was just an illusion. He was very surprised when he made contact with the clones and they were solid. After the attack, Naruto was left with 5 clones. Naruto knew that he had to separate the two, but how? Suddenly an idea came to him. He created 3 more clones and told them to scatter. Kiba and Akamaru just kept attacking using the Fang over Fang attack. They managed to dispel 2 clones, but because they continued to use the same attack, they were able to avoid them. Kiba and Akamaru were getting frustrated with Naruto. He kept dodging, not fighting like he usually would. If Naruto would stay still, he would have won this match by now. Kiba and Akamaru were back to back as the clones circled them. "Damn it, Naruto, fight like a man," Kiba snarled. "What's wrong, Mudface?" One clone asked. "Are you a little frustrated that I'm fighting you differently?" The other clone asked. "Don't worry, this match is about to end." Another clone said. "Ninja art. Whirlpool vortex." A voice called out and the ground beneath Kiba and Akamaru began to suck them in. They quickly freed themselves, which is what Naruto wanted. 2 clones appeared and kicked each Kiba away from each other. They both landed on their feet, but one was surrounded by 4 of Naruto's clones. The real Naruto then popped up from the ground and did a string of hand seals. "Capture and arrest jutsu," Naruto called out. Everyone watched as tags began to glow on the clones' backs. This caused both Kiba and Akamaru to pause. "What did you just do, Naruto?" Kiba shouted. "I've just won. I'm guessing that you're Kiba, so who I have trapped is Akamaru. The jutsu I'm using is a pretty nasty one. If Akamaru attempts to leave, the explosive tags go boom. It will happen if he flares his chakra too. You make any attempt to save him, I detonate the tags. It's ruthless, but if you don't surrender, I won't have much of a choice." "What's it going to be?" Naruto asked. Kiba was at a standstill. He so wanted to knock Naruto in the face. However, Naruto had all the cards. With an angry sigh, Kiba made his choice. "I surrender," Kiba said. Winner of the 7th match, Naruto Uzumaki. Hayate announced. Naruto let out a sigh of relief and deactivated his jutsu. The same was done between Kiba and Akamaru. Akamaru jumped into Kiba's arms and he just petted him. Naruto felt bad about the move he used, but a victory was a victory. The Jonin were very impressed with Naruto's performance. He used Kiba's straightforwardness to his advantage and he put him in a situation that he could not free himself from. They could only wonder what he would have in store for the finals. As Naruto reached the top of the stairs, he was suddenly embraced by Ino. Still the shortest of the graduation class, Naruto was placed face first into Ino's budding chest. Naruto could help but get a red face as he could feel the 2 fleshy mounds under her blouse. "Well, this is a surprise. I did not know you were in that kind of relationship with each other," Kakashi said with amusement. "Have you given up on Sasuke, Ino?" asked an equally amused Asuma. Ino was confused when she realized that Naruto's face was in her chest. She did not miss the red face of the blonde. Her face flushed red and she proceeded to throw Naruto down the flight of stairs, shouting, "Pervert." Naruto bounced twice before landed on the ground in a twisted heap. He released a groan and could not get up at that time. Kakashi appeared above him and looked at him. "Shikamaru is right. Women are troublesome." Naruto groaned. "Still, you can say that you got some right?" Kakashi asked with an eye smile. Naruto only blushed at the question. Watching them, Sasuke could only glare at them. He watched Naruto's fight with interest so he could take something of his. However, the blonde was careful not to use any of those moves he saw in the forest. He gripped the railing. He would get those techniques, one way or the other. "Don't you turn your back on me, Ino pig," Sakura roared. She launched her fist at Ino's back. Her fist connected, but it wasn't with Ino. It was Naruto. He had caught Sakura's punch, but he had to use both hands to do it. Ino was as stunned as were some of the people on the street. Naruto pushed Sakura back, making fall on her butt. He shook his hand as that was one strong punch. Sakura got to her feet and glared at Naruto. "This isn't any of your business, Naruto." Sakura snarled. "I wasn't about to stand by and allow you to hurt Ino because of a few words. Is this how you are? You don't like what people say to you, you lash out when their backs are turned. If you had connected with that punch, Ino could have been put in the hospital or worse." Naruto stated. "Is that so?" A voice said. Everyone turned to see Ino's father, Inoichi. He was flanked by his old teammates, Choza Akamichi and Shikaku Nara. All three were staring a hole into Sakura. The pink-haired Kunoichi gulped and backed away. She only made one step before she was captured in Shikaku's shadow. Choza grabbed the girl and held her firm. Inoichi glared at her. "Sakura Haruno, in compliance of Section 25 of the Shinobi Code, I am placing you under arrest," he said. Choza took her to the prison with Shikaku following. Inoichi turned to check on his daughter only to see her checking Naruto's hand. "Ino, take Naruto inside and tape the hand up. I'll be back shortly." Ino nodded and led Naruto inside the flower shop. He left to catch up with his comrades and their prisoner. XXX. Naruto clenched his hand and winced a little. Ino's mother helped a little in wrapping his arm. Lucky for him, it was just a bruise and not broken. Ino finished wrapping the hand and looked at him. "That should do it. I wouldn't do anything with it for a while," she said. "I wouldn't worry about it. I heal pretty fast," Naruto told her. They sat there in silence for a while before Ino spoke again. "Hey Naruto, can I ask you something?" she asked. "Yeah, sure," he answered. "Your sensei said that your C-rank mission made you take your training seriously." Ino stated. "It did. Sasuke got hurt because I rushed into a situation. Sakura put me down as well. I spoke to Kakashi and he pointed out my flaws. After that, he told me that I can become a really strong ninja despite my flaws. I decided to correct my flaws and become better so that I would not be a burden to my former teammates. Now, I guess that I'll get stronger to protect Konoha," Naruto said with a grin. "Do you think that I could get stronger?" Ino asked meekly. "Sure, I don't see why not. My advice though is to ask for help first. It might suck, it might make you angry to hear all your flaws, but if you can get past that, then you have made the first step in getting better. You saw my awesomeness against Kiba," Naruto boasted. "Please, you tricked Kiba and threatened to kill his dog," Ino stated. "I still won, right? And for the most part, I was whipping his butt. No one can say that I'm the dead last now." "True, but you're still a perverted idiot," Ino said. "Hey, that was your fault. You shoved my head into your chest," Naruto exclaimed. I did no such thing," Ino shouted. The two blondes argued, unaware that Inoichi was listening in. He had a small smile on his face at the advice that Naruto had given his daughter. It was very good advice that he hoped that she took. He then heard the sound of metal hitting flesh. He looked to see Naruto on the ground, a lump growing out of his forehead. Ino was holding a frying pan. He decided to intervene before she took another swing at him. XXX. Kakashi stood in front of Sasuke. It was night time in an undisclosed area. Kakashi had his book out, ignoring Sasuke. Sasuke didn't like it, but he had a smug grin on his face. It was something that Kakashi noticed when he picked him up. "You seem happy about something. Care to share?" Kakashi asked. "I just find it amusing that you were ordered to training me." "How did the Dobi take the news?" Sasuke asked with a grin. "He took it pretty well. Seeing that you haven't really won a spar against Naruto since he took his training seriously, he doesn't have much to worry about," Kakashi said. Sasuke's smile fell and his eyes narrowed. "Whatever, so what are you going to teach me?" Sasuke demanded. "Nothing," he said. "What?" Sasuke shouted. "Why should I teach you anything? You're only going to use what I taught you against others." "Sorry, I will not allow that. Besides, you have enough to work with since you had your Sharingan on the entire time," Kakashi said. "Those useless techniques will not help me against Gaara. I need something stronger in order to beat him. You were ordered to help me and you will comply with that order." Sasuke spat. Kakashi closed his book and stood. Sasuke grinned at him, but it soon disappeared as he felt an untold amount of pain. He struggled to look up at Kakashi. The man looked down at him with his Sharingan exposed. "Very well, your first thing we need to do is increase your speed. Let's just hope you're fast enough to avoid my fists. Kakashi said. Sasuke trembled a little at the feeling he was getting off Kakashi. He knew that he would be in for a long month. Said. He used the teleportation technique before Kakashi could say something. After a while he smiled as he knew that Naruto would be in good hands. XXX. Naruto walked toward the training grounds in a hurry. He had come up with this great idea for an attack and wanted to test it out. If he could actually do it, it would really help him in his match against Neji. He was suddenly stopped when the toad from yesterday landed in front of him. On its back was the guy from yesterday. Hey kid, fancy meeting you here. Jiraiya greeted. What do you want now, you pervert? Naruto said. First off kid, the name is Jiraiya, also known as the handsome and dashing toad sage. Second, I'm here so that we can continue from yesterday. Jiraiya said. Yesterday, you punched me in the gut. Naruto stated. Yet, you were able to master the water walking exercise, right? Jiraiya asked. Naruto couldn't deny that it did. So, until the finals, I will be the one who trains you. Why should I trust you? With Ebisu-sensei, he can control his perverted urges. I wouldn't get anything done with you and any girls around. Naruto said. Come on kid, I'm a really powerful ninja and I can teach you some very powerful jutsu. He said. Oh yeah, like what? Naruto asked. How about I teach you how to summon my friend here? I heard that you have a lot of chakra to burn. Jiraiya said with a smirk. He could see the boy's interest and knew that he had one. XXX. Ino found her sensei with Choji and Shikamaru. Choji was currently trying to roll over Shikamaru. She figured that Asuma must have promised Choji a free lunch to help train the lazy sloth. She forgot about them and focused on Asuma. It took a lot of thinking but she decided to go with Naruto's advice. She saw how much stronger he got. Maybe it would work for her as well. Asuma-sensei. Ino called out. The smoking Jonin turned his attention to his third student. Hello Ino, have you come to help out with Shikamaru's training? Asuma asked. As fun as that might be, I came for a different reason. Ino took a deep breath and looked at him seriously. I would like for you to help me become a better kunoichi. She said. Asuma looked at her for a second before sitting down. He had Ino sit as well. That is something that I can do Ino, but are you ready to become a better kunoichi? I know that you saw how Naruto is in the results, but I'll tell you now that it will be hard work. I will be hard on you and I will be strict. If you are not willing to do the work then you are wasting my time and yours. So I will ask you again, are you ready to become a better kunoichi? Asuma asked seriously. Yes, I am ready to be a better kunoichi. Ino said. Asuma looked at her for a long time before he smiled at her. Well then, let's get started on that. Asuma said. Ino could do nothing but smile. XXX. Sasuke lay in his bedroll, healing from his injuries. Kakashi was not holding back against him. It didn't feel like training to him. It was as if Kakashi was punishing him for his actions, attempting to humble him. That was not going to happen as long as he breathes. He did not feel sorry for what he did at all. Kakashi was giving the Dobi strong techniques and leaving him with nothing. In his mind, it wasn't fair at all. Techniques like that multiple shuriken attack should have been his. Suddenly he heard the sound of chirping birds. It was soon followed by a huge boom. He forced himself to his feet and made his way out toward the sound. He walked a distance before he found Kakashi. He watched as the man did a few hand seals and cupped his hand. Lightning appeared and was blaring. The screech of birds rang through the area. Kakashi then charged at a boulder that had a few holes in it. He thrust his arm forward and into the boulder, creating an explosion of dust. When it cleared, Sasuke could see that Kakashi's arm deep into the boulder. Sasuke couldn't believe how strong that technique was. A wicked grin appeared on his face and he activated his Sharingan. He stayed hidden and waited. XXX. Jiraiya watched as Naruto did the summoning jutsu again. When the sim cleared, he had summoned Gamma. Jiraiya was very impressed with Naruto's progress. In only a week and a half, Naruto had gotten the summoning jutsu down. His first attempt at the technique was a surprise to him when he summoned a toad. The toad turned out to be Gamakichi. It was an impressive feat that even Jiraiya couldn't accomplish. During the week he was about to summon 2 more small toads and 2 man-sized toads. It was just so impressive. However, Jiraiya wanted to see something else. That something else was the chakra of the 9-tailed fox. His reason for this was so that Naruto could get used to using its chakra. Some dangerous men were coming for him and his student would not have sealed the fox within him without a reason. If he was able to tap into that power, he could summon one of the great three toads. The question was, how was he going to it? Oh, he had a way, but it would put his life in danger. With a sigh, Jiraiya stood up and caught Naruto's attention. Well, I have to admit, you truly surprised me, Naruto. Jiraiya said, I told you so. Naruto boasted. Still, I have something serious to talk to you about, Naruto. The blonde gave him his full attention. I was wondering, have you ever met with your tenant? He asked. You mean the fox? No, I never met with him, and why would I want to? Naruto said. That's a shame and a problem. I was hoping that you did. I guess that we're going to have to do this the hard way. For what it's worth, I'm really sorry that I have to do this. Jiraiya said. What are you talking about? Naruto asked. Jiraiya just poked Naruto in the forehead. It didn't feeling like a poke to Naruto, who was suddenly sent flying through the bush. When he came to a stop, he was hovering over a very deep ravine with sharp stone sides. He began to descend down the ravine at a fast pace. He tried to grab the sides, but it was too slippery and he was going too fast. When he ran out of options, Naruto could see his life flash before his eyes. Everything went white for him. When he opened his eyes, he was suddenly in a puddle of water. He looked forward and saw a large golden cage. He also saw a piece of paper on the gates that had the symbol for seal. As he stood, he began to feel an oppressive force around him. He looked toward the cage and saw two large red eyes and a huge row of teeth. Whatever it was, chuckled at him. Hello, Warden, I've attempted to get in contact with you for a while. We have much to discuss. Blonde's eyes shot open and Naruto was fully awake. He sat up and looked around to get his bearings. Yo, a voice said. Naruto turned to see Kakashi. Kakashi-sensei, what are you doing here? Naruto asked. I got word that my student was in the hospital for chakra exhaustion. Seeing that you're up, I don't have to worry. However, I'm curious as to how you of all people got chakra exhaustion. Care to explain it to me? Kakashi asked. Naruto nodded and began his tale. Kakashi was not too surprised that Jiraiya was training him, but he was proud that Naruto knew the summoning technique. He chuckled a little when he talked about his meeting with Gamabunta. That's when Naruto told him about the 9 tails. He was concerned about what Naruto told him. At the end, Kakashi was looking at Naruto seriously. Can you trust him, Naruto? Kakashi asked. I don't really know. It seems like he doesn't have any hidden agenda, but I know that he wants out of the seal. I'm going with the wait and see approach for now. Naruto said. Alright, but be careful, Naruto. We don't know what the fox wants. I'll have to let the Hokage know about this. Kakashi said. I understand, but can you help me first? Naruto said. Kakashi saw that he could not move his wrists or ankles. He nodded and helped Naruto with the fox's chakra exercise. XXX. Sasuke cupped his hand and watched as lightning surrounded it. He had a dark smile on his face. He could feel the power of the technique. He deactivated the technique and fell to his knees. It was the only drawback to this technique, as it took a lot of chakra to do. He didn't know how many he could do before he was out of chakra. After he got his breath back, Sasuke bandaged his hand. If Kakashi saw the burn marks, he would get suspicious and get the reason out of him. He raised his bandaged hand and smirked. With this jutsu, he would show everyone just how strong he was. XXX. Ino was breathing heavily as she struggled to get to her feet. Across from her, Asuma stood and waited. He was actually pleased with Ino's progress. He still could feel the sting of her shots across his arm. He smirked at the tired blonde. Imitating the Hyuga, are we? Asuma asked with amusement. Not really, my aunt showed me a bit of the Yamanaka fighting style. Apparently, we work on disabling our opponents so that they couldn't move when we read their minds. She said that very few use it anymore. Ino explained. That's true, your clan isn't known for its close combat skills. Still, it is a good style for you. So, are you ready for another go? Asuma asked. Ino nodded and charged at Asuma. She would get stronger, no matter what. XXX. Naruto was sleeping peacefully. After a whole day with Kakashi, he had finally gotten the hang of the fox's exercise. Kakashi explained that this would be a very good exercise for him. Naruto just wanted to get some needed sleep. He had another week before the finals started and he was going to train hard for 4 days. He still had that idea and jutsu to learn. As he slept, he was suddenly, once again, brought before the fox. Naruto groaned as stared at the 9 tails. What do you want now? I was sleeping, you know. Sorry to spoil your beauty rest, but you have a problem. What are you talking about? The boy with the sand, he is similar to you. What? He is a container just like you. He carries that crazy shukaku. Wait a minute, that red-haired guy from the sand is just like me. What's he doing in the hospital? First, he is similar to you in that he contains one of us, but you are very far apart. The shukaku is an insane being that wants nothing more than blood. Anyone who is his container is very unstable. As to why he is here, I would guess that it is because of that weird boy in the green spandex. Shukaku has an impressive defense and that boy broke it. He will kill the boy. The fox said, "Why didn't you say that in the first place, you stupid fox?" Naruto shouted. Naruto instantly woke up and shot out of bed. He made his way to Lee's room. He saw Gaara stand over him, his sand making a move to the sleeping Lee. Naruto acted quickly and used the teleportation jutsu to grab Lee. Naruto placed Lee behind him and faced Gaara. Gaara did not look happy that he was stopped. "Why did you stop me?" Gaara demanded. "A better question is, what do you think that you're doing? He can't defend himself." Naruto said. "He questioned my existence. He must pay for that. I will kill you as well if you get in my way." Gaara said, "Don't think just because you have the shukaku in you that I'm going to back down." Naruto said and got into a stance. His words surprised Gaara. "How do you know about shukaku, the wind spirit?" Gaara asked. Naruto used a bit of the Nine Tails chakra and his eyes changed to show Gaara. "You aren't the only one with a spirit stuck in his gut," Naruto said. This surprised Gaara as there was another person just like him. He looked closer at Naruto and rethought his earlier mental assumption. "No, you are not like me. You do not have the same eyes as me. You don't have the same hate as I do." "Why is that?" Gaara asked. "I know what you mean. Having people hate you for something that you had no choice in. I hated them, I wanted bad things to happen to them, but that doesn't solve anything. That's why I took a different path and I found people who acknowledge me." Naruto said. "You are naive and idiotic. They will turn on you the second you let your guard down. My mother is the only one who has not betrayed me, and it is because of her I have an existence." Gaara said. "No, you allowed your grief to take over and you threw away your humanity. You're just proving them right by becoming what they fear." Naruto said. Gaara glared at Naruto and his sand began to react. Naruto readied himself to fight when they both heard footsteps. Gaara called back his sand and turned around. He stopped in the doorway and faced Naruto. "I will kill you and I will show you how foolish you are," Gaara said and left the room using the teleportation. Naruto calmed down and turned his attention to Lee. The bowl cut teen was still sleeping. Naruto turned back to the doorway and had a serious expression on his face. He would need to be ready if he wanted to be a match against Gaara. "What a dangerous genin you have, Hokage-sama. I will have to keep my eye on him in the future," the Case said. Hiruzen said nothing, but he did not like the words that came out of the Case's mouth. It sounded more like a threat than a statement. He would have to keep an eye on his fellow Cage. XXX. Neji was breathing very hard. He had bruises on his forearms and calves. He looked at the dozen clones that was surrounding him with a harsh glare. He couldn't believe how this match had gone. He did not expect this for the dead last. It angered him greatly that he was being pushed so far by this failure. He needed to finish this off and he had just the way to do it. He had already figured out which one was the original and made his way toward him. He dodged the attacks and jutsu to appear next to the original. Naruto saw his stance and knew that he was in trouble. He decided to use his other original technique. He quickly did the hand seals and finished just as Neji launched his attack. Gentle fist art. 8 trigrams 64 palms. Neji shouted. 2 palms. Neji shouted and struck to hit nothing but air. This surprised him as Naruto appeared to his left. Neji growled but he would not give up. 4 palms. Again he hit nothing. 8 palms. His strikes hit nothing but air. 16 palms. Naruto's images danced around him as his palm went right through them. 32 palms. Neji threw his strikes faster and faster but he was still unable to touch Naruto. 64 palms. Neji roared. Naruto's images just kept dancing around Neji's strikes. When it was over, Naruto's images disappeared and Naruto was nowhere to be seen. That's when Neji was suddenly dragged into the ground up to his head. Neji growled and was about to blast his way out of the ground when he felt an incredible amount of chakra. He looked up to see Naruto in the air. He also noticed that some of his features looked darker than before. Ninja art. Lion's roar. Naruto bellowed and unleashed a huge wave of sound toward Neji. Didn't have time to dodge as he was hit with the wave of sound. The blast created a crater then sank Neji further into the ground. When Naruto landed on the ground, he cautiously moved toward the crater. He looked into the crater and saw that Neji was sprawled out, not moving. Genma checked Neji over. He was going to be really sore but he was alive. He then turned to Naruto and pointed at him. Winner of the first match, Naruto Uzumaki. Genma said. At first, Naruto heard nothing for the crowd which did not really faze him. That's when he heard clapping. The clapping got louder and there was more of it. Then there was cheering. Naruto couldn't really believe what he was hearing. People were cheering his name. They were giving him praise and telling him that he did a good job. He was so shocked by it. He quickly got out of his shock and gave the crowd a big grin. He raised his arms in victory and egged the crowd on. XXX. I can't believe what just happened. Naruto just beat Neji, Izumo stated with shock. Yeah, and what is more shocking is that he did it without so much trouble. Throughout the match, he had the edge over Neji. Kotetsu said. I agree. He didn't rush in too much. He kept him on edge with jutsu and strange attacks. Those last two moves were impressive. Not to mention that he kept his cool. Do you think that he deserves a promotion? Izumo asked. No doubt about it. He deserves Chunin rank. Kotetsu said. XXX. I don't believe it. How could Neji have lost? Tenten asked in shock. Yeah, that's the way. Way to go Naruto. Ino shouted. She was very happy for the blonde who gave her some direction in her ninja career. Her cheering got the attention of Sakura. The two rivals looked at each other before Ino grinned at her. Sakura growled but ignored her. She wasn't going to argue with Ino with both her parents right here. Ino looked at Tenten who was still shocked. Hey Tenten, watch my seat for me okay? Ino asked. Tenten nodded as Ino left to congratulate the blonde shinobi. XXX. 3 unseen techniques, that is quite a genin. That last attack was something else. The Cage said. Yes it was. It is easily mid-C rank technique. I am excited to see what he shows us next. Hiruzen said. You won't be alive long enough to see that, sensei. Was the Cage's dark thought. XXXXX. It isn't a seal. It's his thinking pose. When things get too dicey for him, he does that pose. After he done thinking, it's a sure thing that he would win. Asuma said. Come on, he won't win just because he's thinking. Kurenai said. Don't underestimate him like you did Naruto. The truth is Shikamaru's greatest strength is his mind. He actually has an IQ over 200. Asuma said. He watched as Shikamaru had just finished thinking. Just watch Kurenai, you're about to see something amazing. XXX. Shikamaru pulled out 3 kunai and stabbed them in front of him. He did the seal for his shadow possession jutsu. His shadow raced after Tamari who jumped back to a line that she created to mark the distance of his technique. When she was behind it, she believed herself to be safe. When the shadow stopped, a kunai appeared right at the line. She saw a small ball attached to it. It suddenly exploded into a smoke cloud, blinding her. Tamari was coughing but she saw that his shadow had passed the line. She quickly jumped away when 2 kunai cut off her movement. They too had smoke bombs attached to them. Tamari caught on to his plan after the second smoke bomb and she wasn't about to let him get the upper hand. She opened her fan to 3 moons. Wind scythe jutsu. Tamari called out and a large gust of wind blew the smoke away. This reduced Shikamaru's range with the shadow possession jutsu. When the smoke cleared, Tamari smirked at Shikamaru. That was a nice try but not good enough. It's time I ended this. She said and reared her fan back. Suddenly, she couldn't move her body. It was as if it was frozen in place. What? Why can't I move? Shadow possession jutsu, success. Shikamaru said with a grin. No, it isn't possible. I blew away your smoke and there is enough light for you to extend your shadow. Tamari said with shock. That's pretty good that you figured that out. You're right, I couldn't reach you with this much light but I had help in another way. Like I told that troublesome girl from the sound, you should have a better awareness to your surroundings. Those smoke bombs were just a distraction and a tool to get you to where I wanted you. Still seeing that she was confused, Shikamaru turned his head to show her the large crater that she was standing next to. She remembered this crater as the one that Naruto made. She looked closer and saw a small tunnel. Her head was moved again and he showed her where the connection was. The man-size hole was a few feet to his left. Why you used the hole that the blonde used to go underground to connect your shadow to me? Tamari asked in awe. Yeah, I noticed it when you were trying to blow me away with your attack. Anyway, I think it's time that I end this," Shikamaru said. Temari couldn't believe that she had lost to this slacker. He treated her like a puppet and led her into his trap. She growled and closed her eyes as she didn't want to see what he was about to do to her. That is until she heard him said, "I give up." Her eyes shot open and she looked at him with shock. "Excuse me," she asked. "You heard me, I said that I give up. This thing is so annoying and I don't want to be a part of it anymore," he said to her. Her shock suddenly turned into rage. "Are you kidding me? After all you did, you're just giving me the match. You pig, I don't need you to go easy on me." Temari shouted. "Who said anything like that, you troublesome woman? As you can see, you can move and my shadow is still connected. You shouldn't be able to do that, so I know that I don't have the chakra to continue. What are you so angry about? Kami, you're just as annoying as my mother and Ino," Shikamaru stated. Temari was red in the face and reached for her fan. Genma stepped in before she could shed his blood. "Winner of the match, Temari of the Sand," Genma said. The crowd was disappointed about the outcome and let Shikamaru hear it. The Nara heir didn't even care and made his way back to the competitor's box. XXX. Well, was that a part of his plan too? Kurenai asked with amusement. Asuma just sighed and pinched the bridge of his nose. Still, that was a brilliant strategy he came up with. If he was leading a battalion of men, he would have won that battle. Hell, if he and Naruto ever get together on the field, they wouldn't lose. He definitely deserves to be promoted. The red-eyed beauty thought. Maybe she should stop underestimating the dead last students. It was clear that they were not as weak as she thought. XXX. Ino, you need to calm down, Choji said. He was currently struggling to hold on to her as she wanted to get to the competitor's box and bash Shikamaru's skull in. "Hey Tenten, can you give me a hand here?" The brunette did help and they managed to subdue the enraged Kunoichi. XXX. After that fight, it was time to get to the match that everyone wanted to see. However, Sasuke had yet to arrive. Genma looked around and wondered what the Hokage was going to do. Before the Hokage could give his ruling though, Kakashi finally arrived with Sasuke. The one-eyed Jonin shoved Sasuke forward before turning his back from him and vanishing. Sasuke glared at the spot but did nothing else. As the crowd cheered, Kakashi appeared next to his fellow Jonin. "Yo," he greeted them, cutting it kind of close there. Asuma said, "This time, it wasn't my fault. I couldn't find him after I told him to meet me near the stadium. I finally found him at his parents' graves. I let him speak with them before I to force him out and bring him here. I'm just glad that he's out of my hair." Kakashi said, "Well, you missed some great matches. Naruto did very well against Neji, Shino won by forfeit and Shikamaru lost to that Sand Kunoichi. I wouldn't be surprised if Naruto and Shikamaru got promoted." Kurenai told him, "Is that so? I'll have to get a tape of that match." Kakashi said. That's when Gaara appeared on the field. Kakashi focused on the match and couldn't help but wonder what Sasuke had in store for the psychotic genin. XXX. Naruto was also interested in this match. He wanted to see what Kakashi taught Sasuke. Suddenly, Shikamaru came in running and out of breath. Naruto and Shino looked at him with worry. "Is something wrong, Shikamaru?" Naruto asked. "Naruto, we have to get to your sensei and stop this match. If we don't, Sasuke is going to get killed," Shikamaru said to him. "What happened?" Shino asked. "I just watched him kill 2 grass ninja and he was smiling." "This guy isn't stable," Shikamaru said. "We should listen to him, Naruto. My team watched as he killed a rain team without remorse. We must get you sensei to stop this match," Shino said. "Alright, let's go and find him," Naruto said, and the three left to find Kakashi. "Shino, Shikamaru," Kakashi called out. Shino appeared next to him but not Shikamaru. He arrived later when he was forcibly wakened from his fake nap. He muttered a troublesome before facing everyone. "I need you two to go and back up Naruto. I have a feeling that Gaara's siblings are on their trail." "What about Naruto? He's fighting that nutcase," Ino exclaimed. "Don't worry about Naruto. He can handle it," Kakashi said confidently. He looked at Shino. "Can you track him? I placed a bug on him before he rushed in to help." "I already have the scent," Shino said. "Good. Everyone has their orders. I want you all to be careful and to watch each other's back. Guy, make a door. Kurenai, cover their departure." Both Jonin nodded and did their task. As Choji grabbed Sasuke, Guy punched a hole through the stadium wall, leading to the outside. Kurenai used a genjutsu that blanketed the genin from view. They all left through the hole to complete their objectives. Unknown to everyone, they were spotted by two people. The first was Sakura. She had managed to dispel the genjutsu when it was casted. She hit the deck when the kunai started flying. She wanted to make her way to the arena grounds in order to save Sasuke. That's when she saw that Kakashi had gotten to him first. She carefully made her way to where he and the other Jonin were. When she got there, she heard the last bit of the mission he assigned to them. She was a bit angry that Kakashi did not include in on protecting Sasuke. As they were leaving, Sakura was about to join them but realized that Kakashi would probably stop her. She decided to sneak out and follow them in order to make sure that Sasuke was safe. The second was a disguised Kabuto. He saw the Jonin converse but did not know what about. He lost sight of them when Kurenai used a genjutsu. When he broke the genjutsu, the genin were gone and the Jonin were once again fighting. He noticed that Sasuke wasn't there as well. He cursed but then suddenly smiled when he saw Sakura leaving the stadium. He signaled 9-sound ninja to him. I need you to retrieve something that belongs to Lord Orochimaru. That girl will lead you to him. Kill anyone that gets in your way. He ordered. They nodded and vanished. He readied himself as there was a war happening in front of him. Your hardest. Did you not give up? Naruto shouted. Shut up. You wouldn't be spouting such nonsense if you witnessed the death of someone you cared for. Gaara roared. Suddenly, he got a wicked grin. Like that girl who congratulated you, I wonder how it would feel when you watch her die. Naruto was confused when he realized who he was talking about. Yes, I should go and find her. When I do, I'll crush her into nothing. I let you watch as she calls out to you for help but you can't. Then we'll see if you will still have sure conviction. Gaara jumped into the air, planning to make his way by toward the village. He was suddenly cut off by a pair of red eyes. He was struck and struck hard. He crashed through a tree before hitting the ground with a boom. He struggled to stand when he felt a huge amount of anger. He turned to see Naruto glaring at him. His eyes were red with black slits, his whisker marks were darker and his nails grew a little longer. He growled, showing his fangs. You go anywhere near her and I will rip you limb from limb. Naruto threatened in a deep voice. Gaara stood and faced him with a smile. Why don't you try and stop me, Uzumaki? Gaara challenged and motioned him to come and get him. Naruto growled and charged at Gaara. Gaara did the same and the two roared at each other. XXX. 9-sound ninja watched as the group entered a forest area. They found it humorous that they thought that they could escape through the forest. They were trained and showed every place and spot in Konoha. Running through the forest was a waste of time in their eyes. They all made their way into the forest to capture the genin. As the 8 entered the trees, the 9th followed behind them. He suddenly fell through deep hole. He hit his head on the sides and was knocked out cold as he hit the ground. The others would not know about the loss of their backup. The 8-sound ninja followed Choji who was carrying Sasuke. 4 followed from the ground while 4 followed from the trees. That's when everything started to go wrong for the sound shinobi. One of the men jumped on a branch, which broke under his weight. He fell but quickly flipped in midair to land on the ground. This, however, triggered the pit trap that he fell into. What was special about this pit was the logs that blocked the way down. The sound ninja hit the first log with his knees, breaking them. He cried out as he hit 2 more logs, breaking, bruising or cracking something. He hit the ground in pain. 2 sound ninja turned to help but one of them triggered a trap. That person was hit by a sandbag that sent him flying into a swamp. The sound ninja attempted to get out of the muck but it made him sink faster. His comrade attempted to help but the ground gave way, he was sent tumbling into the same muck. 3 down, the other 5 were being a little more cautious. They weren't cautious enough as 3 of them was hit with some sort of gas. They immediately hit the ground, scratching themselves vigorously. The remaining 2 were wondering what the hell was going on. They stopped their pursuit of Choji and were looking around for anyone in the trees. They couldn't believe that they were led into an ambush. They moved carefully only to trigger another trap. This one was a large branch that knocked the wind out of one of the sound ninja. He was hit again by a bag of rocks. Scared for his life, the last remaining sound ninja ran. He was able to get out of the forest only to get shot down by a hail of shuriken. 2 Konoha ninja appeared and looked at the dead sound pursuer. Man, why didn't we think about this before? One of them said. The risk was too great. We didn't know that there was a safe route through this ground. Those kids are pretty lucky that they knew. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. The other said. Yeah, We still don't know how many more traps there is in this place. We need to make sure that Naruto get an accommodation for this. The ninja said. They both left to help defend the village. Shikamaru, Shino, thank God you're safe. Ino said. Then she noticed Naruto's condition. Oh my god, what happened to Naruto? Keep your voice down, we're still in the middle of a battle. Shikamaru said. The two genin dragged Naruto to one of the beds and laid him down on it. Is he okay? Asked Tenten. Yeah, considering the battle he's been in. Shikamaru said with a sigh. Wait a minute, Naruto was fighting that Gaara guy right? Are you telling me that he beat him? Kiba asked with shock. Yes, Naruto defeated Gaara using some very powerful techniques. He refused to allow Gaara to make his way to Konoha. Shino answered. There were some murmurs among the people in the shelter. There were some who had listened to the match on the radio and heard about the Sand Ninja. They began to talk among themselves. Hey, isn't Gaara the kid who beat Sasuke? Yeah, I think it is. Wow, I can't believe Naruto beat somebody that beat Sasuke. Maybe he isn't as weak as people say. As they continued to talk among themselves, Sasuke was clenching his good arm. His other arm was in a makeshift sling as it was broken by Gaara. He listened in as Shino went into his explanation of the battle. When did Naruto learn to summon? That would mean that he was getting training from Jiraiya the Toad Hermit. Why was he training that loser? Sasuke growled and wanted some more answers. How could Naruto win when he could not? It angered him greatly and he swore to get to the bottom of Naruto's power. If Naruto wouldn't give it to him, then he was going to take it. As of today, you have been removed from duty until a Hokage is inducted. The Chunin said, surprising Sasuke. What do you mean I've been removed from duty? Sasuke shouted. I don't know the details. All I know is that it was recommended and it was approved. That's all I have to say. The Chunin said and left before Sasuke could speak. Sasuke couldn't believe what just happened. He noticed that everyone was looking at him, some were trying hard not to laugh. He growled and stomped off before he lost control. As he stomped, he wondered who would do such a thing to him. The only person who could make a recommendation like that was Kakashi. He took off to the roofs in order to find his sensei. XXX. Kakashi was leaning against the wall of a tea shop, reading his favorite book. He noticed two people walking toward him and looked up from his book. It was Asuma and Kurenai. He quickly put the book away as it was known that Kurenai hated that book and was prone to destroy one on sight. They walked up to him and Kakashi greeted them. Hey guys, are you on another date? Kakashi asked. What are you talking about? I'm here to get something for Anko and we met up. Kurenai said with a small blush. Hey Kakashi, word is you removed your team from duty. Has things gotten that bad? I know that you were pissed at what Sasuke did. Asuma said. Yeah, I'm even pushing for my team to be disbanded. Sasuke and Sakura have disappointed me time after time. I'm also worried about Naruto if he's still attached to the team. He doesn't need to have his improvement held back by those two. Kakashi said. He made a motion with his eyes toward the two men that were in the tea shop. They both had on black robes with red clouds and a straw hat. One of the men had a large item that was bandaged. Yeah, I can say that I don't disagree. What Naruto did against Neji was very impressive. Kurenai said. Where is he anyway? She asked this question because she noticed how one of them reacted to the name. He's around helping rebuild the village. A lot of people appreciate the work that he's been doing. Kakashi said. When he looked back, he noticed that the two were gone. He had a good scent on them, so he wouldn't lose them. He looked at the other two and they nodded. All three vanished and made chase after the two mystery men. XXX. We're going to get a new Hokage. Naruto asked as he walked out of the gates with Jiraiya. Yeah, she's my old teammate and granddaughter of the Shadaime. Jiraiya said. So she's the last of your teammates. Where has she been all this time? Naruto asked. That's not my story to tell, kid. I would recommend that you don't ask as it may be deadly if you do. Jiraiya answered. Okay. Hey, do you think you can help me with a move I created? I can use it but I want to make it more effective. He asked. Sure, but let's get some distance from the village first. Naruto nodded and the two continued their mission. XXX. The two men walked along the canal, minding their own business. No one was in the area, which did not concern either one of them. After a while, the two stopped walking and stood there unmoving. I believe we are far enough for your liking. Why don't you come out now? The shorter of the two called out. Kakashi, Asuma and Kurenai appeared in front of the two. The two sides faced each other down. I had a feeling about you too. So, why don't you tell us who you are and why you are here? Kakashi asked. I can't tell you why we're here, but I guess I could tell you my name, Kakashi-senpai. The shorter man said. That sent warning bells to the three as the shorter man removed his hat. When his face was shown, the three gasped in surprise. Itachi Uchiha, whispered Kakashi. Oh Itachi, it seems like they remember you. Well, let me introduce myself as well. The taller man said and removed his hat. The three Jonin were now sweating at the revelation of the other man. This has gotten troublesome. Why is the monster of the mist, Kisame Hoshigaki, doing with Itachi Uchiha? Asuma asked. I don't know, but we're about to find out. Get ready guys, this is going to be tough. Kakashi said. The three Jonin prepared themselves against the Uchiha clan's murderer and the monster of the mist. Anger made him tap into the power of the curse mark and it gave him a boost of speed. XXX. Naruto sighed as he sat in the room that Jiraiya rented. The man would have been with him if it was for that girl who was actually wanted to be with him. She must have been crazy or something. Either way, the man told him to go to the room while he got to know the girl better. He just sighed and looked over the techniques that he had learned. He was surprised at the amount of techniques that he had known so far. It meant that he was getting better as a ninja. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Naruto thought that it was Jiraiya. He figured that the girl must have come to her senses. He stood up and opened the door. When he did, he was surprised to see Sasuke, but he quickly saw that it was not Sasuke as the person was taller than him. But he instantly recognized the Sharingan, so who was this guy? That's when he remembered the person that Sasuke wanted to kill. It was his brother, the killer of the Uchiha clan. Why was he here? Itachi looked at him and saw the look of recognition on his face. So, you know who I am. I would like for you to come with me, Naruto-kun. I will ask you not to make a scene. Itachi said. Naruto just looked at him and then at the guy who just came into his vision. Naruto took a deep breath and closed the door, locking it. When that was done, Naruto bolted out of the window and used his chakra to run down the side of the building. He only got 3 steps before he was confronted again by Itachi. He heard a loud noise and saw that the door he locked fly out of the window. That's when the other guy came out and was blocking off any avenue of escape. Hey, nice try kid, but we need you to come with us. If you aren't going to come willingly, I'll just have to shave off your legs. Kisame said with a grin. Naruto gulped and was quickly trying to find a way out of this. Itachi. A voice roared. Everyone turned to see Sasuke. Naruto looked at Sasuke with surprise and confusion. Surprised that Sasuke was here and confused about the markings on his face. Kisame noticed the similarities between the two. Hey Itachi, that kid looks a lot like you. Kisame said. He's my little brother. Itachi answered. Little brother huh, I thought that you killed all your relatives. Kisame asked. I've done what you asked Itachi. I hated you and I allowed it to grow. It has grown and festered. Now, I will show you the power of my hatred. Sasuke roared. He activated the Chidori without hand seals and rushed at Itachi with the look of murder in his eyes. XXX. Naruto was taking a break and ate his lunch. He was really excited as he was going to learn a jutsu from his hero, the 4th Hokage. He just couldn't wait until he saw this Rasengan jutsu, but the perv was being stingy. He just kept wondering what the jutsu could be when he felt a familiar tug in his mind. What do you want? Naruto asked the fox. We need to talk about what that group is after you. As you are now, you will not be able to protect me. The Nine Tails said. Oh, thank you for the vote of confidence. Naruto said sarcastically. I'm only stating the facts boy. As a percussion of this group, I believe that you must get a handle on using my chakra, enough for you to use 1 tael worth of my power. The fox explained. Are you nuts? If I begin using your chakra it's going to cause a big stink with the village. Naruto exclaimed. Then talk to the perverted moron. He was attempting to get you to use my chakra in the first place. Maybe it was because of this group. Perhaps he could set you up with an area that we can use so I can monitor your progress. The fox said. Naruto calmed down and began to think about it and had to admit that the fox had a good idea. Okay, I'll run past the pervy sage. Just remember that this is a give and take relationship. Yeah, just get it done. The fox ended the link and Naruto wanted to go back in and insult the fox. He forgot about the crabby fox and decided to talk to Jiraiya. XXX. Ino was humming a tune as she worked on the flowers in the store. She was having a pleasant day as it was her day off from training. She needed it as she was pretty sore from everything that she was doing. So far, she had improved her taijutsu and her clan jutsu. She had learned another jutsu called the Mind Destruction Jutsu. It was fun to use as she used it on Choji and made him attack Shikamaru. She felt bad about it later and brought Choji something to eat, but she would keep it in mind if Shikamaru had any more smart comments for her. While she felt that she was getting stronger, she wanted to learn more. She began to look into Kekai ninjutsu and how to use a short sword. She was also looking into this taijutsu that looked like it was a lot of fun. It had a lot of movement in it and some sweet-looking moves. She thought that it would be a perfect addition to her taijutsu. She couldn't wait to get started. Suddenly, she heard her mother's voice and it wasn't a happy tone. She wondered who her mother could be angry with. She made her way to the front and saw her mother glaring at Sakura. She wondered why Sakura was here in the first place, but she was more concerned about her mother as she never showed any type of anger. She decided to get to the bottom of this. "Is there anything I can help you with, Sakura?" Ino asked. It got the attention of the two. Ino's mom looked ready to say something but was stopped by Ino. She gave her a nod and the older woman moved out of the way. The two former friends faced each other. "I said, is there anything I can help you with?" "Yes, there is. I would like to speak to you in private." Sakura said. "Right, I'm just going to go with you. You're not exactly the most trusting person I know." Ino said. "Look, I just want to clear any bad blood between us. If it makes you feel any better, we can do this here." Sakura said. Ino weighed her options and realized that she would have the safety of her clan behind her. Knowing her mother, she would probably have some of her cousins watch. "Fine, after you," Ino said and stepped aside. Sakura walked in and made her way into the house. Ino took off her apron and followed. She could only hope that Sakura wanted to clear the bad blood, but she was ready if she tried anything. XXXXX. "What you said," Tsunade said. Naruto blew a raspberry at her and got into a fighting stance. Tsunade looked at him with a chuckle. "Fine, I'll humor you. One finger, that's all I'll need to take you out." "I wouldn't do that, Tsunade. You better take this boy seriously or you're going to regret it." Jiraiya said. "Yeah right, he won't even land a blow on me." She mocked. That's when she was struck in the cheek by Naruto's fist. Tsunade was a little shocked but was able to regain her bearings and blow the kick that Naruto threw. Naruto jumped back and did some hand seals. "Water style. Ripping torrent," Naruto said and shot a ball of water at her. Tsunade made a fist and punched the jutsu into water. Naruto used the teleportation technique to get close to Tsunade and reared his fist back. Tsunade narrowed her eyes and finger flicked Naruto away. Naruto bounced twice before dispelling into smoke. Tsunade was surprised until she was dragged into the ground until her head was the only thing showing. Shizune was surprised while Jiraiya was laughing his off. Naruto appeared next to her with a grin on his face. "Tell you what, hag, I'll let you leave with some dignity if you just apologize for what you said." Naruto mocked. Tsunade growled and quickly burst out of the ground and raised her leg in one move. Naruto quickly got out of the way when she brought her kick down onto the ground. Naruto was shocked when it created a crater and raised a part of the ground. Tsunade appeared in front of him and shot her fist forward. Naruto activated his illusion dance and Tsunade's fist went right through him. She growled and threw a back fist that nearly took his head off. As Naruto backed off and Tsunade charged, Naruto flipped back and launched an air blade at her. It cut into Tsunade's shoulder and made her bleed. Tsunade saw this and her eyes went wide with fear. Naruto landed and pushed off to use a flying knee, but he was stopped by Jiraiya. Naruto jumped back and glared at him. "What the hell, pervy sage?" Naruto cursed. "Look at her, Naruto," Jiraiya said. Naruto did and was surprised at what he saw. Tsunade was trembling and hugging herself. Naruto was surprised as he looked into her eyes and saw fear. Shizune came and placed her jacket on her and wiped the little blood off her. What's wrong with her?" Naruto asked with worrying. "You don't need to worry about it, Naruto," Jiraiya said. He made his way over to Tsunade and took her from Shizune. "Hey Shizune, can you watch my charge for a little while? I'll make sure that Tsunade is okay." "Don't worry, I'll be good. That's a first," Naruto commented, which earned him a smack in the head. Jiraiya took Tsunade away while the apprentices got to know one another. XXX. Tsunade took another gulp of sake before Jiraiya filled her saucer. Tsunade just glared at him while he held his smirk. Keep smirking, you pervert. It'll just give me a reason to knock you out. Tsunade growled. I did warn you not to underestimate the boy. Maybe if you were a little more sober, you would have realized how good he is. Jiraiya said with amusement. Just who is that brat anyway? Tsunade asked. Like I said, he's my new apprentice. His name is Uzumaki Naruto and he might be promoted when we complete this mission. Jiraiya said. Well, you're going back in failure because I'm not going to be Hokage. Tsunade said. Let's not talk about that now. How about you tell me what you and Orochimaru talked about before I found you? Jiraiya asked. Tsunade narrowed her eyes but remained silent about it. Jiraiya just sighed and placed some money on the counter. Before he stood up, he gave Tsunade a serious expression. The reason that Naruto was angry was because he loved Sarutobi and he wanted to be the Hokage just like him. I don't know what you and Orochimaru talked about, but I would think very hard about what your answer will be. That's when Jiraiya hit her with some killing intent that made Tsunade look at him with surprise and fear. Because if you chose wrong, Tsunade, I will kill you, he said and stood up. Tsunade looked at Jiraiya's retreating form before turning back to her drink. After a few seconds, she left, no longer feeling to drinking. XXX. Tsunade walked around town trying to clear her head. That's when she heard a shout and wondered what that was. She made her way to the sounds and saw Naruto again. She watched as the brat was concentrating and noticed what he was doing. She couldn't believe that Jiraiya would be so careless to teach such a brat that jutsu. He wasn't even close to mastering it. Her scoff caught Naruto's attention, which made him lose his focus and have the jutsu blow up in his face. Naruto groaned while Tsunade was laughing at him. Oh, that's just poetic justice. Tsunade laughed. Kami, I needed that. Naruto just ignored her and went back to his training. Tsunade just continued to watch as he continued to work on the jutsu. After another failure, Tsunade just shook her head. Just give it up, brat, you'll never get this jutsu down. Jiraiya was a fool for teaching it to you. Well, I'm glad he's a cool fool rather than a cold-hearted hag. Now, if you've got nothing but insults to say, why don't you kick rocks and let a true ninja train in peace? Naruto spat. Tsunade narrowed her eyes at the hag part, but she didn't do anything to him. True ninja, huh? How about you prove it with a little wager? Tsunade asked. Naruto looked at her with confusion. What kind of wager? Naruto asked. Tsunade just smirked at him. XXXXX. You may think that he won't amount to nothing, but I can see that he will grow stronger than ever. Hell, if he continues this path, he may even surpass me in the 4th Hokage. Just wait, he's going to show you just how good he can get. So we have a difference of opinion then. No matter, let's just get this show on the road. Orochimaru said. Why not? Jiraiya said with a grin. Gamaken got ready to fight as the two snakes hissed. XXX. Naruto stood in front of Tsunade, who was still out of it. He didn't know what was wrong with her, but he had to protect her like Jiraiya said. He faced Kabuto as Shizune helped Tsunade out. When she was finished, she stood beside Naruto. Kabuto looked at the two with a small smirk that annoyed the hell out of the blonde. Something funny? Naruto asked. I'm just amused at what you're planning to do. I'll admit that you are skilled, Naruto, but you are at low Chunin level at best. I am at the same level as your sensei. Even with your partner, I will not have much trouble in taking you out. Kabuto said. It was now Naruto's turn to smirk. In a flash, Kabuto was struck in the back of the knee, forcing him to the ground. He was then hit again by a powerful kick to his chest. He rolled away and looked at the blonde with shock and confusion. That's when the air shimmered around him and revealed several clones that surrounded him. He was confused as he did not see Naruto make any seals. Confused. You shouldn't be thinking about the beating that I'm about to give you. You can talk all you want about being at the same level as Kakashi-sensei, but you ran from him, didn't ya? Naruto asked with a smirk. Kabuto gave Naruto a frown. Don't underestimate me, traitor, or else you're going to end up just like the others. Kabuto fixed his glasses and stood up. His smirk returned and he faced the group. We'll just have to see if you stack up to the hype, Naruto. Kabuto said and got ready to fight. Shizune, Naruto and his clones were prepared as well. XXXXX. Wriggle out of it. Still, it seems that your strategy has taken a lot out of you. That's too bad for you. Kabuto said. How the hell did you get up from that? It shouldn't be possible. Naruto snarled. Oh Naruto, you should know that things are not what they seem. For instance, I gathered my chakra at the point of your attack and healed myself. A worthy try, but it wasn't enough, Kabuto said. He took a step forward and looked ready to charge until he suddenly froze up. He dropped to his knees and fell on his face. I can't believe it, I suffered that much damage, he thought viciously. Seeing that Kabuto was struggling to stand, Naruto let out a sigh of relief. He made his way over to Tsunade, who had a look of disbelief. The blonde grinned and held his hand out. I believe that you owe me a necklace, hag, Naruto said with a grin. XXX. Jiraiya and Orochimaru stopped their battle to see the results of the fight. Naruto was bragging to Tsunade and Shizune was slowly making her way over to the two. Kabuto was still out and recovering. Both men had two different reactions to what just happened. Jiraiya was very proud of his apprentice. He didn't really master the Rasengan, but it was a very creative way to use the jutsu. It was a way that neither he nor the Yondaime thought of. He just smirked at his victory. Orochimaru had a frown on his face. He was a little worried about the boy because he knew two techniques that were quite a pain. With this jutsu in his arsenal, the boy was too damn dangerous to live. He cursed himself by not killing him earlier. While his intervention would have brought some major trouble from his former comrades, he could not allow this boy to continue to live. He had to strike now. He charged down, making his way to the group. Jiraiya quickly followed after him, seeing his intent. Orochimaru smirked and launched his tongue at Jiraiya, wrapping around his ankle. He slammed him to the ground and used his momentum to rocket toward Naruto's unguarded back. He spat out the grass-long sword and held it with his mouth. His blade entered the body and sprayed some blood. However, it was not the blood that he wanted spilt. Granny, Naruto called out. Orochimaru's sword was sticking out of the woman, who was grunting in pain. Orochimaru narrowed his eyes at her. What do you think you're doing, Tsunade? Why would you put your life on the line for this boy? He asked. Because he will be Konoha's future. Tsunade struggled to say. That's what you think. He's not leaving this place alive. He is a threat and I will eliminate him right now, Orochimaru said. He pulled the blade out and kicked Tsunade away. He then faced Naruto, who was glaring murder at him. Well, here we are again. However, I do not have the time to play with you, Naruto. This time, you will die. Naruto growled and threw a kunai at him. Orochimaru vanished and reappeared behind Naruto. He whipped his head and brought his sword to decapitate him. Tsunade shielded him again, the sword cutting into her back. Orochimaru snarled and kicked Tsunade away. Naruto tried to attack him, but he was kicked away as well. Seeing that he would have to kill Tsunade first, he made his way over to deal with her. As he stood over her, he saw that she was no longer shivering. He was suddenly sent flying by one of Tsunade's fists. Tsunade stood proudly. She glared at Orochimaru and faced him with lines appearing across her face. She did a seal and began to focus her chakra. Reserve seal. Release. Ninja art. Meiotic regeneration. Tsunade said. Orochimaru watched as the wounds on Tsunade began to heal like they never appeared. Orochimaru was intrigued with what she just did. Well, what new things have you learned when you were out of the village? Orochimaru asked. With this jutsu active, I will not die. Prepare yourself, Orochimaru, because unlike Sensei, I will not hold back. Tsunade said and wiped some blood off her chest. Orochimaru narrowed his eyes and he made his way over to Kabuto. The young man had some time to heal and was able to get to his knees. Jiraiya bit into his thumb and smeared it across his palm. Each member of slammed their hand on the ground. Summoning jutsu. All three shouted and a large plume of smoke appeared. When it cleared, each shinobi was standing on their summons, Jiraiya on Gamabunta, Orochimaru on Manda and Tsunade on Katsuyu. Gamabunta looked at the group before him and took a puff of his pipe. Orochimaru and Manda, Tsunade and Katsuyu, quite a time for a reunion. Gamabunta said, it isn't much of a reunion. We're about to finish something that should have been taken care of years ago. Jiraiya said, Katsuyu, I need you to head over to the blonde boy there. Help Shizune heal his cracked ribs. Yes ma'am, Katsuyu said. A small piece of the giant slug broke off and landed on the ground. It made its way over to where Shizune and Naruto were. Tsunade turned her attention back to Orochimaru. After a few insults were traded between Manda and Gamabunta, Orochimaru finally spoke. Why are you really doing this, Tsunade? You may have seen through my plot, but why go so far for the village that has taken so much away from you? Orochimaru asked. That boy showed me what it really means to have the will of fire. I lost that feeling years ago, and that boy sparked something that has long been buried. He has made me believe again, and I will not disappoint him. As the 5th Hokage of Konoha, I will defeat you here and now," Tsunade said. Jiraiya smirked and got ready to fight. Orochimaru just chuckled. "Very well, fool, let's see if you can."